Hey guys, so this is going to be a roller coaster ride. Just give me about 5-10 minutes of your time. Trust me, it's going to be a fun video. Okay, so quick headlines over here. We at Quantum are always building products and stuff like that. And one of the products our growth team came up with is that, hey, why are we paying so much for HubSpot? We're not really using all the feature of HubSpot. In fact, we do actually end up doing a lot of stuff that is outside of HubSpot. And so the team said, sure, we can definitely build you something. And that's what we did. Oh, just before we get into that, by the way, I'm on the $200 per month plan with Claude Max. And so far, if I was hitting the API, I would have been charged $13,000. Now, this is quite unique because this has a couple of resets that happen thanks to Fable and not Fable, etc. But anyway, I thought small segue over there, but I thought relevant. In fact, that's how much probably went into building all of the stuff that I'm going to show you right now. So, Mivac, what is it? It's a CRM tool that is specifically designed to surface actions and stuff that was spoken in a meeting so that you don't miss them. So it's really orientated to the way we work, which is making sure that we get the transcripts in, and then we analyze for anything that's missing and follow up on those, right? So a lot of deals don't just die because we're, not doing work. It's just that we forgot because it's somewhere there. So all of this, good stuff, good stuff. But I'm just going to show you the tool. So this is Mivac, and this is currently like our favorite team. So our growth team absolutely loves this, and there's a lot of features that we love. I'm just gonna show you one that I'm gonna be frank, it's kind of cool. I wish more people would use it. So you can actually now open up my deals board. And let's look at the Stark Industries deal. And let's create an action to talk to Tony Stark next week. Okay, let's go back to the deals board. And you get the idea, right? So we actually thought, hey, why don't we, go through the activity of updating the deal board and remove the most annoying part, which is the typing. And so now you can see you can actually interface with the entire software using voice. Like that's just one of the things. And like I said, I think this is one of the things that is going to get better over time. And is it perfect? No, it still messes stuff up. If there's multiple people speaking, that's just going to be pretty real. It is something that we are working on, but I'm quite impressed of what it's already capable of, and I definitely see a future where you're just speaking stuff and the AI figures out what you want, picks up the intent, gets stuff done, etc. Oh, and by the way, in Mivac, one of the things that our team absolutely loves is that if there's something that it doesn't do right now, all they need to do is just right click and request the feature. And literally you can just be like, oh, I want, something over here. Maybe I want dark mode or something, whatever that is, right? Or maybe just point out stuff that's over here. Maybe where is the dark mode? Somewhere over there. Cool. There is dark mode already. We took care of that like day one. But you can just submit this. This goes to our dev team, tickets it directly, and then there's a whole back-end system of it, which I'm going to show a little bit right now that you're quite deep into this. Hopefully that caught your attention. By the way, there's a whole bunch of other features. As a CRM, this just absolutely blows away every other CRM that we've tried used out of the water. Even really small touches, like for example, we have a joint calendar feature baked in to this where we can actually have multiple members. This is a demo, it just has me. But you can specify certain things like I need their phone number, otherwise they can't make a booking. And after the meeting, I can actually put a message saying that, hey, here's my LinkedIn. So again, trying to balance between usability at the same time connect with people. So yeah, just make that really useful. You got a buffer after time. You can have multiple time zones, multiple calendars. If you have your entire team, you can pick and choose. This just made our whole, entire growth team's process so much easier because my calendar, their calendar, 4 calendars are all merged in, and then only the free times available are given to anyone to book in. So super handy. This one feature alone probably is just saving us super amount of time across the board. And of course, we got a whole bunch of other things as well, the ability to send newsletters, the ability to even just upload documents and get them signed off here itself. So you don't need a DocuSign, you just need this here. Again, stuff that we actually find useful and none of the stuff that we don't. But like I said, this is like super handy for us, and definitely recommend that you try it out. Yes, we are now open to take people to MeVac. It's been doubly hardened and super put to use already, but love to get your feedback and really try and find those small touches. And by the way, this is an open challenge to anyone who can find any other software doing this feature. I call this presentation mode. And in the CRM, you can just click on this little presentation mode, and it will just mask all the figures. So if you're talking to another team and just saying, hey, these are the different prospects we're chasing, but you don't want to reveal the numbers, now you can just click here and every number across the board is just masked out, right? So again, this is just one of the really tiny things that we love about what we're building over here. Oh, of course, yeah, this, if you're working across multiple currencies, you can actually choose to have different currencies in different countries. So you can choose again dollars. You can customize this. It'll figure out what the exchange rates are by default. Just merge it and just give you a nice figure universal. And you can see here if there's one deal in rupees here, it'll come here. If there's in dollars, if you want, I can just keep everything in one currency or the other, etc. So that's a little bit about Maybach. And now some of the stuff that for the devs in the room we're kind of interested in, kind of how this gets built. Like I said, I think you might be interested in that. So there's a tool that we are using right now, which is to manage our terminals for coding. So this is how work gets done. These are the tools of our trade. Now these terminals are basically running different instances of Claude Code, GPT, Gemini, etc. Now, the way I've got it set up on my laptop, and that's how we kind of hit that $13,000 number on a $200 figure, is I've got my environment set up something like this. And let me just take you to a more annotated one. All right, boom. So what you're seeing here is a very visual version of what's happening underneath, which is I've got an orchestrator agent. Effectively, I've said, hey, you're playing the role of an orchestrator, and you within this box can control or message the other boxes. So the orchestrator actually sends messages to dev 1, dev 2, dev 3, dev 4, dev 5, dev 6, and says, hey, do this. And whenever they're done with something, they know to wait for the orchestrator to come and check in with them and then do something else. And I've got something called a merge train, which is make sure that all of the code gets sort of handled at a streamlined manner, so they never fight with each other, and they always make sure that they're pushing updates in a coordinated way. So that's the job of the orchestrator. And broadly, I've got one opus. Again, these opus just choose through credits, tokens. So I've got just one of them. But then I've got multiple sonnets doing smaller pieces of work, and the orchestrator knows their sonnets, so make sure the work isn't too big for one sonnet to work on. It'll distribute it, it'll break it up as needed. And I've also got in the wider team as well. So I got GPT from OpenAI. I've got Gemini. I went there. That's right. And the hot new kid on the block, GLM 5.2, running via OpenRouter and OpenCode, etc. So yeah, hopefully I gave you a preview of the how we're kind of doing different application development processes. This is fairly cutting edge. It's quite high burn. Again, we're trying to optimize using different models, not have everything be thrown at your greatest model. There is a concept of right sizing your AI. You don't need to use the best in class models for everything, and of course trying to use multiple systems in the most efficient way possible. For software development process, this of course requires a lot of coordination with multiple other people, multiple systems. But yeah, this is kind of what we're heading towards, and more and more with stuff like this is what allows us to build some awesome software like this. So if you want details on Mevac, a CRM that I think is just more fun, honestly, more than anything else that we've seen, I'll drop a link in the comments that you guys can go check out. Just hit me up, and happy to get you connected. All right, that's it for me. Hopefully, you learned something new on how I spent $200 and got $13,000 worth of work done, according to them. All right, have a good day. Bye.